Yo, what up, people? Smith's on motherfucking R here today, of course, outside because the rain sound is smoothing and it's about to let up. And I don't know, but I feel like recording outside, mostly because there's no fucking echo. You may hear the outside noise, but fuck it. Who gives a fuck? Anyway, Smith's on motherfucking R here today, of course, to give you guys Kamisama no Inai Nichiyoubi, episode 11, motherfucking review. Now then, I found out lately that the series is going to only be 12 episodes long, so next week's episode will be the last one. And I'm kind of disappointed in that. But I am somewhat digging this story. Why is that? Well, because in this episode we got a lot of information that we need to get. For instance, Alice wasn't always a good basketball player. To be honest, he loved basketball, but unfortunately he really sucked at it. And then when he made his wish in order to get, his buzzer countdown shit, basically he never misses, he has perfect accuracy, it ruined the game of basketball for him. And reinforces, and even said himself, the whole idea of you may wish for something, but you also have to give up something to attain that wish. And it's also clarified because I has her 13th motherfucking birthday. And on her 13th birthday, she gets her shovel back. And basically, they have until July 28th in order to basically reset the, to destroy this world, or else it'll reset permanently and then they'll all be trapped in it possibly forever. Because since they weren't original members of Class 3-4, then unfortunately they might get actually trapped in it and be stuck in the loop forever. And the thing is, at her birthday, Alice said something very important, which had to do with the wishes. And basically stating that if you wish for everything in life and you get it, then you give up your motivation and your drive to push forward. You give up that waypoint, so to speak, and so you cannot progress any further in life if everything you wish for comes true. And it reinforces again with, of course, Alice's wish. He really wanted to be a good basketball player, and because of that, he got perfect aim with everything he does. And now he cannot enjoy basketball anymore because of the fact that the fun about basketball was that you can miss. And since he never misses, it's basically like playing a game that you know you can't lose. It's like having no fun. There's no more competition. There's no more actual grinding to get where you want to be. It's just, I'm the best, fuck everybody else, I'm the shit. So, besides that, this episode also had to deal with Dee. And the thing with Dee is, she is actually a ghost. We find out that on July 28th, the day where everything gets reset, is the day that she died. She actually died. She was putting up a banner on the fucking window, and she fell out of the open window and died. And at that moment, all of Class 3-4 wished simultaneously that their everyday school lives would continue forever. And their wish was granted. And so they got stuck in this loop. And Dee's job, because we find out that Dee is actually in love with Alice from like afar, like on some stalker shit, but it's kind of sweet too. I'm not gonna lie, it's pretty sweet. It's like, oh, but the thing is with Dee, throughout this episode we saw like Alice, he'd put stuff trying to distort it because unfortunately the world is starting to get out of balance because I is there. And since he's a member of Class 3-4, when they voted for their average, like every year they'd vote for their cultural festival before it get reset, and it used to end in a dead man, basically, or what do they call it, a dead break, where basically half and half decide on one thing. And it always was 9 versus 9 for like having a play and having like a food court. But now I is there. And because of that, she basically voted for the food court, which destroyed or changed the future because they can no longer argue about what they're going to do. They can't. Because that was one of the key fundamental things of the whole thing. They'd get ended in a den break, and then they'd argue about it for days and days or something like that. And then after that, they'd come to the conclusion that they do the play. But now, they're not doing the play at all. Which technically means that because Dee, she doesn't really have a problem with being dead. She just doesn't want to leave Alice. And along with not wanting to leave Alice, and the fact that she's in love with him, she knows that Alice will do whatever it takes to destroy this world. And we get a reiteration of course, the previous episodes when they're at the academy. And when they're at the academy, Alice and Dee both said that they wanted to destroy the world by saving it. Just in order to save the world, we gotta destroy it. Except Alice wants to destroy that fake world in order to save everybody in there, while Dee wants to destroy the outside world and just make sure that her world is safe. And of course, as we all know, all she wants to do is save the outside world, and possibly this world too. Well, she does want to save this world. And so she made a promise with Dee not to tell Alice that she's in love with him, or the fact that she's the cause of all this. Because she asked, like, what would you do if one of the class members was responsible for all this? Would you sacrifice him? He was like, hell, fuck yeah. And they were playing basketball, and Dee was reiterating like what she always does around this time when Alice is playing basketball. And whoa, that was crazy. She's just sitting in the fucking bushes waiting for him to make a shot, and then she looks, and it's different because I is there, and she's playing basketball with Alice, and she gets this like jealousy look on her face. And when I asked the question, of course, I reiterated before, which of course is, would you sacrifice one of the members? And he said yes, anything in order to save this world. But would he sacrifice Dee? We don't know. I'm going to have to say yes because we don't know if exactly he loves her or not. But either way, I's goal now is to save the world while also saving Dee. And it could be possible, but we're not exactly sure yet. And besides that, and the rain's kind of picking up a little bit, kind of, but not really. Fuck it, anyway. The thing is, it is really, really, really intriguing, this episode. Because even though it's not showing off a lot of the horrors, it kind of did with flashbacks about when Dee first got out into the outside world, and basically her job was trying to destroy the outside world by going to motherfuckers' ears and saying, destroy, destroy, be destroyed, chaos, saying all types of shit. Since he's a ghost and they can't actually see her, she's using that to her advantage to help destroy the outside world, to protect her little own community, her own little world. And the thing is, she actually killed Alice before. Before everything got reset, one of the times when he was going mad deep in his research trying to find a way to save it, she just pulled out a fucking gun and shot the nigga in the back of the head. Legit. And then he came back and everything reset and he was all happy again. But then after a while, he broke out of it. And Dee realizes that she has blood on her hands from that. And so she can't really talk to Alice about her love and all that because she killed him before. She killed her lover in a sense, and she doesn't feel that she is worthy in a way, in my opinion, to be in love with Alice. And of course, besides that, we got this whole thing, which is basically Alice is dropping little hints like all throughout the library and stuff, and then Dee would crumb before I could grab it, and she would destroy it. Except she missed a book, and because of that, I found out that Dee was actually dead. She died. And that if this world goes away, like I said before, she will disappear most likely. But I's, of course, goal is to save everybody, so we'll see how it works out. And overall, guys, this episode, I don't know why, but actually really enjoyed it. I mean, it wasn't crazy cool and epic. It wasn't mad fighting. There wasn't no fucking dodging bullets. But yet again, I'm breaking out my new rating system for this shit. And if you didn't already know, it's basically like a 1 through 10 and then another 1 through 10. Basically, 1 through 10, the first one would be like, is it bad, okay, and good, and what level of it? Or is it just a fucking 0, which is horrible? And then after that, it goes into like, how good is it then? Is it like great, amazing, epic, fucking epic, fuck me, you know, all that type of shit. Near perfection, perfection, or is it a fucking 10 out of 10? And so that's how I usually break it down. So that's a simple way for me to explain to you guys how this is going to work. Okay, and it's basically like, if you go check on my About, you can actually check it out. Basically, 0 through 9, aka that's 10 numbers, so you can count that as 1 through 10 in another sense, is basically the easiest thing to get. You know, I mean, it's not really easy, but it takes some work to get there. But then after that, the 9 to 10 is the real fucking grind. And it goes very in-depth into how exactly good was this episode. And so with that being said, I would have to give this episode, out of anything, I'd have to give it an 8 out of 10. Yeah, 8 out of fucking 10. Which is basically, it was good, but it had okay moments in it. There were some moments where I weren't really into it that much, like her birthday party and the whole thing with like the voting and the school life and all that. But the deception was really good, and I really enjoyed that. And the jealousy that D has for I, or possibly could have, will tie into next week's episode since it will be the last. And it was, in a sense, a great setup for the last episode. Again, and it might not end so bullshitty. I am disappointed, nonetheless, that we are not going to see this dark, decrepit world that, of course, Alice walked through, and we saw some clips of, like, people walking through a desert and destroyed, like, cities. But maybe they'll make a season 2. That's all I can hope. Because I want to see the horror in this world. I want to see, because they did promise us some things, like, if you're dead for too long, then you start to transform into something else that isn't human. I want to see that. But unfortunately, it looks like I won't be able to. And that is somewhat disappointing. But nonetheless, it was still a solid, good episode with some okay moments thrown in there. So with that being said, Smithers to the motherfucking R. Comment, like, subscribe, and all other shit. Peace the fuck